say what up, it's your brother from the ancient mother Uvi to the J, and welcome to another Headspace album review. We're talking about rap, we're talking about doing rap and being seriously good at it. Now I use the phrase seriously good because, you know, when you talk about being serious, a lot of people kind of associate that with not taking your craft as a joke. And today's artist really is first and foremost a joker. The man's profile is comedian, fundamentally, first and foremost. I'm talking about none other than William Last KRM. Somebody please tell me what the KRM stands for. I tried to do due diligence on that. No news coming back at me. The algorithms are failing me, or maybe I just don't know how to tweak and find the real passages and messages. So any fans, any admirers, if William is listening to this, holla at me, because rap names elucidate a lot about the artist. And this ain't even a rap name, it's a stage name, it's what he goes by, because like I said, the guy is a social media personality who's really kind of taken the wins recently as a troll slash comic. Now that's all good and fair, but his whole brand is a personality who kind of exaggerates the realities of his surroundings by being overtly funny. And when you do something like that, you kind of take yourself outside of the reality of mundane life. You look for humor where it isn't always immediately present. And the thing about being an artist who has to stretch out and adopt a humorous stance as they present themselves is you suffer something I call the curse of the gimmick. You suffer this thing where, because you are known for doing a particular thing, you are known for being funny. You are known for being the guy who gives us satire. What it does is that it locks you into this zone where when you are actually trying to have quote-unquote serious commentary on issues, or you're trying to become a little bit more broader and as a result more human, sometimes audiences will not allow you to do so. We've seen similar things happen to incredibly gifted artists like Ifani, where the music is good, but because somebody brought themselves out in a particular kind of niche where they're a clown, it's difficult to take them seriously when they want to be taken seriously afterwards, because it eventually gets there. It eventually gets to this place where you want your music to identify with more than just little kids and the air of immaturity that we have around issues when we just want to have a laugh at things. Ultimately, life gets to a point where we want to think hard. It forces us to think hard. It forces us to really reflect who we are, what we want, and there's music that accompanies that. William, the project is called Willian. It's kind of like an ode to the fact that he's a father, a new father. Now, first things first, what I find interesting about William Last KRM is that he was nominated for a South African Hip Hop Award for Best International Rap Artist. Am I getting this right? And that kind of caused the whole halabaloo and, you know, shock, because is Botswana really international? You do the due diligence and you go check it out for yourself. The politics, the history around Botswana and South Africa is kind of really interesting and complex, but for the fundamental sake of logic and formality, Botswana is its own place with a unique industry that operates within it. And I will give William props for doing his social media work so broad and so wide that, I mean, he jumped the border culturally. He really became an internet sensation. Does this album make him more than that? Is he more than a dude for a little chuckle on your timeline when you just want to forget about a couple of things? Can he deliver a weight that brings the audiences to have a deeper appreciation for him as an artist? Is that what he's even trying to do? The album is yet another one of these albums that are really modeled after what everybody else is doing. Trap, little bit of piano here and there, little bit of that tribal African Afro beat flavor. He's trying a little bit of everything. He's an artist who's really not afraid to jump into different scopes. The hooks are formulaic. The rapping is actually surprisingly really creative. Man has good punchlines. He's got an interesting voice. It comes alive. And the humor on the tracks is kind of what makes a lot of these songs stand out. Funny rappers are really entertaining. And I think he does manage to get to a point where he's able to bring himself with enough bravado, braggadocio, and like playfulness where you get the sense that, yo, this guy is really a complete artist. But I couldn't help but shake the fact that through this whole sonic experience that I was being woven into, the overarching thing that makes me walk away and feel a little puzzled is the fact that it's a conflict with what you know him for. You listen to this album because you're expecting to kind of find out what a comedian wants to do in the world of rap. Is this mocking rap? Is this in a way using rap to extend the brand? And I get a little bit of a middle ground. I get the fact that he actually wants to be a rapper. He actually appreciates, admires, and even goes far as saying respects the craft. It's evident. It's evident in his meticulous approach, his lines, his lyricism. William is a legitimately good rapper. And I can't help but shake this similarity that I got to him, an American rapper, Lil Dicky. Lil Dicky is one of those guys who's a really good MC who never really got beyond the trope of being a joke, because he presented himself as a comedy rapper. And when you do that, again, you curse yourself in the gimmick. William is an artist with true potential who's really being trapped by the curse of how he stepped into the game to begin with. How do we take a comedian seriously if he's gonna add a slash and then decide to be a rapper? What is he doing? Should we laugh at the album? Should we take it seriously? Because it's a seriously good album. But after you walk away from it, you can't help but feel clouded by the perception of how to identify him when you listen to him musically. We can't escape the fact that when we listen to artists, we listen to them in the context of how we understand them, how we relate to them, and what we know of them. Music is attached to pop culture, music is attached to the culture of media, and what we know from William in his whole media persona is he's a dude for jokes. And I really feel like this album is a testament of the fact that no artist should place themselves in a position where they don't bring out their true broad sense of humanity. Even if you are a comedian, be the kind of comedian that is human enough to still operate within a pocket where we see you when you're a little bit stressed. We see you when you're reflecting. We see you when you're motivational. Don't just kind of weave in everything in this one-dimensional format, because what that tends to do is that it traps you in a lane, and the last thing you want to do is live in lanes. I know we say it a lot, what's your lane, what sound are you into, and yeah, we could easily categorize artists to fall into particular kind of niches. However, even in a niche, it's important to bring yourself out as a complete human being. Now, this is a strong kind of testament to the fact that you can relate the art and the project to the perception of the artist in ways that can affect that dynamic and that relationship. Had William Last KRM brought out this album as a regular Botswana rapper, I think it would have had more heat to it, but he's bringing it out there as a media personality, as somebody who might live in a place where rap is a fringe that he happens to know how to do. The thing about this curse of the gimmick is that it carries itself over in everything the artists do. William Last KRM has even gone the extra mile of bringing out quality music videos that depict the great diverse culture of where he's from, who he is, how he hangs out, how he dresses. There's a beautiful aesthetic about him that really is there to kind of break out of that jester role, and still, it still doesn't carry across, because when you really look at how he consistently has to drive himself in the social media space that he kind of popped up in, it still creates that conflict. So what happens to the fate of the light-skinned freckle-faced boy from Botswana is a question that we have to really consider as it relates to artist direction, creativity, and how you bring yourself out to begin with. I'm here to review the music. The album for me is a definite 5. It's a 5 because, yeah, it follows the definite pattern of what's being done out there. So scratch authenticity, it follows the kind of same pockets of pop formulaic approach, you know. But here's what I'll say about William, is that when it comes to technicality, when it comes to skill, he's a legitimately talented and skilled artist. And there's enough songwriting spunk in this for me to feel like, had he been in a different zone of collective knownness, he would have probably had a better chance of putting this thing out as a legitimate hip-hop project. But now it's in a place where it's a comedian's rap album. It's like how we looked at Spike Oz when he dropped Siyaswima. We loved the song because it was parody. And I feel like this is not what William is trying to do. These songs are not funny. These songs are like seriously reflective, and these songs are trying to do something beyond the comedy scope. He's really not trying to diss hip-hop. He's really not trying to just use hip-hop as a joke. He's legitimately trying to rap, and it's confusing because for a comedian to then have this chapter where he's really rapping, maybe it begs for another kind of brand. Maybe in the footsteps of a Donald Glover, he could be Childish Gambino, and he could still do something else. Maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe in order for audiences to kind of coherently take you seriously, you need to create a whole other avatar for this aspect of yourself. Maybe the fact that it's all under one banner just seems to create this cognitive dissonance where the good music falls by the wayside because it's under the cocktails of like something that is embellished in so much silliness. So for me, again, like I said, 5 out of 10. It's one of those albums that's good at being formulaic with a sparkle of potential in the artist. And my only advice is maybe he should create a whole totally different rap persona to kind of just remove the funk of the comedy from the music side. But other than that, if we're talking about the integrity of the music, this is a really good album. He's rapping better than most of your favorites out there right now. He's rapping so good, even Kuli Chana's on the bandwagon. So that has to say something for the kind of artist he is in terms of brand, approach, and like sheer talent. So with that being said, is it conflicting for artists to practice different mediums under the same moniker? Does it create dissonance in the audience? Does it affect how your art is viewed overall? These are the questions that this album had me thinking. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 translates into good, not good enough. Yeah, it's been VJ. It's been another Headspace album review. Siyabulele.